Happy New Year, Pisces! I mean that with everything in me because what I am about to share with you is something I have been sitting with for weeks now, and honestly, I had to wait until the timing felt right to talk about it. If you are part of this community, first of all, thank you for being here, for trusting this space, and for being open to whatever messages come through. This year, 2026, there is something happening that I need you to understand, and it starts on January 1st. Not in some vague, generic way, but in a way that is going to touch your life specifically as a Pisces in ways you might already be feeling but have not been able to name yet. So here is what I have been noticing. The energy around us has been building for months. If you are a Pisces, you have probably felt this restlessness, this sense of something coming that you cannot quite put your finger on. Maybe you have been having these incredibly vivid dreams, or maybe you just wake up some mornings and feel like the air itself is different, like reality is shifting in ways that are hard to explain to people who are not tuned in the way you are. And I want you to know that you are not imagining this. What you are sensing is real, and it has to do with a massive energetic shift that happens to align perfectly with the start of 2026. January 1st is not just another new year. From an astrological and energetic standpoint, this date marks the opening of what I can only describe as a cosmic gateway. Now, I know that might sound dramatic, but when I pulled cards about this and when I looked at the planetary movements happening right now, everything pointed to this moment being significant, beyond what we usually experience with typical New Year energy. This is about cycles ending and beginning simultaneously, about old paradigms dissolving while new ones emerge, and Pisces, you are standing right at the center of this transformation. The reason I am talking to you specifically as a Pisces is because your sign has the most direct connection to what is happening right now. Your ruling planet Neptune has been moving through some incredibly powerful positions, and the collective consciousness is shifting in ways that Pisces natives are designed to feel first and feel most deeply. You are like the antenna for cosmic frequencies, the ones who pick up on changes in the collective energy field before anyone else even knows something is different. And right now, what you are picking up on is this massive wave of transformation energy that is about to become undeniable for everyone. I have been feeling this personally too. There is this sense of anticipation, like standing on the edge of something huge. And part of me is excited, while another part is a little overwhelmed by the magnitude of what I am sensing. But what I keep coming back to is this feeling of rightness, like everything that has happened up until now has been preparing us for this moment. All the challenges, all the growth, all the times we felt like we were being broken down and rebuilt. It has all been leading to this point where we are actually ready for what is coming. Let me explain why this matters so much for Pisces specifically, because I think understanding this will help you make sense of everything you have been experiencing lately. Pisces is a mutable water sign, which means you are naturally equipped to flow with change, to adapt, to transform. While other signs might resist or struggle with major shifts, you have this built-in capacity to move with the currents of change rather than against them. And what is happening right now requires exactly that kind of fluid adaptability, but it goes deeper than just being able to handle change. Pisces is connected to the collective unconscious in a way that other signs simply are not. You feel what humanity feels. You dream what humanity dreams. You carry in your energy field the hopes, the fears, the wounds, and the potential of the entire collective. This is why you are so sensitive, why you sometimes feel overwhelmed by emotions that are not even yours, why you need so much time alone to process and clear your energy. You are constantly interfacing with something much bigger than your individual self. And right now, that collective unconscious is going through a massive upgrade. Think of it like humanity is updating its operating system, and you, as a Pisces, are one of the first to download and integrate this new version. This is why you might have been feeling exhausted lately, why your sleep has been weird, why your dreams have been so intense and strange and sometimes prophetic. Your system is adjusting to a new frequency, and because you are so sensitive to energy, you feel these adjustments more acutely than most people do. Neptune, your ruling planet, has been amplifying this effect. Neptune governs dreams, illusions, spirituality, the dissolution of boundaries, and right now, Neptune is activating in ways that are dissolving the old structures of consciousness that humanity has been operating under. This sounds abstract, but what it means practically is that things that used to seem solid and unchangeable are suddenly revealing themselves to be flexible and transformable. Beliefs you held without questioning them are suddenly up for review. Relationships that seemed permanent might be showing their true temporary nature. Career paths that felt like your destiny might be revealing themselves to have been someone else's expectation rather than your own truth. This can be disorienting, I will not pretend it is not. But for Pisces, this dissolution is actually your natural element. You understand that nothing is truly solid, that everything is energy, that reality is more fluid than people want to admit. So while others might be panicking as their certainties crumble, you have the capacity to swim through this liminal space with a kind of grace that comes from knowing that endings are just disguised beginnings. I want to talk about the dreams for a second because I know many of you have been experiencing this. Your dreams are not just random images anymore. They are carrying messages, showing you possible futures, clearing old timelines, integrating new codes. Some of you have been dreaming of water, of oceans, of drowning, and then discovering you can breathe underwater. These are not just dreams, they are initiations. They are your subconscious mind showing you that you are capable of surviving and thriving in conditions that would overwhelm others. The first card that came through when I asked about this January 1st energy for Pisces was the Chariot. And at first, I thought that was interesting because the Chariot is not typically associated with Pisces energy. But the more I sat with it, the more I understood why this card is so important for what you are moving into right now. The Chariot is about directed willpower, about harnessing opposing forces and moving them in the same direction. It is about victory and success, but not the kind that just falls into your lap. This is earned success, the kind that comes from mastering yourself first and then using that self-mastery to navigate the external world with confidence and purpose. For Pisces, this is a significant message because there is this stereotype that Pisces is passive, that you just go with the flow, that you are dreamers but not doers. And while it is true that you have a natural inclination towards surrender and flow, what the Chariot is telling you is that 2026 is your year to combine that spiritual surrender with focused action. It is time to stop drifting and start steering. Think about what a chariot actually is. It is a vehicle that allows you to move quickly and purposefully in a direction you have chosen. The two sphinxes pulling the chariot represent opposing forces, maybe logic and intuition, maybe action and receptivity, maybe your need for solitude and your need for connection. These opposites have probably felt like they are in conflict within you for a long time. The Chariot is saying that in 2026, you finally figure out how to unite these opposing parts of yourself and use them together as a source of strength rather than internal conflict. I am seeing this play out in practical terms as Pisces natives who have been floating through life suddenly finding their direction. Maybe you have been dabbling in 10 different things, keeping your options open, never fully committing to any one path because you are afraid of closing off other possibilities. The Chariot energy is about choosing your path and then committing to it fully, trusting that commitment does not mean limitation, but rather focus that leads to actual achievement. This is huge for manifestation too. Pisces has incredible manifestation abilities because you naturally operate from a place of imagination and feeling, which are the key ingredients for creating reality. But what has maybe held you back is lack of direction and follow through. You have the vision, you have the feeling, but then you get distracted or overwhelmed or you doubt yourself, and the manifestation never fully materializes. The Chariot is here to tell you that in 2026, you are learning to add that third crucial ingredient, which is sustained directed action. Let me get specific about what this might look like. If you have been working on a creative project, but it has been scattered or inconsistent, the Chariot energy is about sitting down and creating a structure for completing it. If you have been dreaming of a career change but have not taken concrete steps, this is the year you actually update that resume, take that course, have those conversations. If you have been wanting to improve your health but keep starting and stopping, the Chariot is about creating a sustainable routine and sticking with it long enough to see real results. But here is the deeper spiritual dimension of this card for you. The Chariot is also about emotional mastery. Those two sphinxes represent the sometimes wild and opposing emotional currents that run through you as a Pisces. You feel everything so deeply, and sometimes those feelings can pull you in different directions, leaving you paralyzed or exhausted. What the Chariot is teaching you is that you do not have to be at the mercy of your emotions. You can acknowledge them, honor them, and then decide how you want to respond to them rather than just reacting. This is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending to be stoic when you are naturally empathic and sensitive. It is about developing the inner authority to say, okay, I feel this wave of sadness or anxiety or overwhelm, and I am going to let it move through me. But I am not going to let it derail my entire day or my progress toward my goals. This is emotional intelligence at its highest level, and it is something Pisces is being called to develop in 2026. The Chariot also speaks to boundaries, which I know is a big theme for Pisces. You are so naturally giving and empathic that you often lose yourself in other people's needs and emotions. You become the vessel for everyone else's pain and problems, and then you wonder why you feel drained all the time. The Chariot is about creating strong boundaries, not from a place of selfishness, but from a place of self-preservation and self-respect. It is about recognizing that you can be compassionate without being a sponge, that you can help others without losing yourself. I am also seeing the Chariot as a sign that some of you will literally be traveling or moving in 2026. There is this sense of forward motion, of leaving something behind and heading towards something new. If you have been feeling stuck in your current location or situation, this card suggests that liberation is coming, but it requires you to be the one who initiates the movement. The universe will support you, but you have to be the one to grab the reins. The victory that the Chariot promises is not given. It is earned through self-discipline and focused effort. But Pisces, you have been training for this without even realizing it. Every time you chose to show up for yourself, even when you did not feel like it. Every time you honored your boundaries, even when it was uncomfortable. Every time you followed through on something, even when the initial inspiration had faded, you were building the muscles you need to ride this Chariot toward your destiny in 2026. I need to talk about Neptune for a minute because understanding what your ruling planet is doing right now will give you so much context for what you have been experiencing and what is coming. Neptune has been moving through incredibly significant positions, and its influence on collective consciousness right now is profound. Neptune governs dreams, spirituality, intuition, creativity, and also illusion and confusion. It dissolves boundaries, which can be either beautiful or terrifying, depending on how grounded you are. What I have been noticing is that the veil between the physical world and the spiritual realm is getting thinner. Now, for some people, this just means they are having slightly weirder dreams or more moments of synchronicity. But for Pisces, who already has one foot in each world naturally, this thinning of the veil means your psychic and intuitive abilities are amplifying significantly. Things you used to have to try hard to tune into are now just immediately available to you. You might be knowing things you should not know, feeling things before they happen, seeing through people and situations with startling clarity. This can be amazing, but it can also be overwhelming if you do not learn how to manage it. The Neptune influence right now is like someone turned up the volume on your spiritual receiver. And if you do not have practices in place to ground and protect your energy, you can end up feeling completely overwhelmed by all the information and energy coming at you. Here's what I recommend. First, get serious about energetic hygiene. This means daily practices to clear and protect your field. It can be as simple as visualizing yourself surrounded by white or golden light, or taking salt baths, or spending time in nature. For Pisces, water is your element, so literally being in or near water is deeply cleansing and restorative. Even just drinking lots of water throughout the day and setting the intention that it is cleansing your energy field can be powerful. Second, develop discernment around what is your energy versus what you are picking up from others or from the collective. This is a big one for Pisces because you are so porous that you absorb everything around you. Start asking yourself throughout the day, is this feeling mine or did I pick this up from someone else? Is this anxiety actually about my life or am I tapping into collective anxiety? Once you start asking these questions, you will be surprised how often the answer is that you are processing energy that is not even yours. Third, trust your intuition, but also stay grounded in reality. This is the tricky balance with Neptune. On one hand, your intuition is going to be incredibly accurate in 2026, and you should absolutely trust those gut feelings and inner nudges. But Neptune can also create illusions and fog, making you see what you want to see rather than what is actually there. The key is to honor your intuitive hits, but also to verify them with practical discernment. If your intuition says someone is trustworthy, notice if their actions match up. If you get a hit about a new opportunity, research it, and make sure it is real before going all in. The positive side of this Neptune influence is that your creativity is going to be flowing like never before. Pisces is already the most creative sign, and with Neptune amplifying that natural gift, you have access to incredible inspiration and artistic vision. If you are any kind of creative, this is your year to create something truly special. Your ability to channel from the collective unconscious, to bring through ideas and visions that feel like they come from somewhere beyond your individual mind, is at an all-time high. For those of you who are healers, counselors, or work in any kind of service profession, your ability to tune into what people need and to provide exactly the right medicine in the right moment is heightened. You might find that you just know what to say or do without having to think about it, like you are channeling healing through you rather than from you. This is beautiful. Just remember to clear your energy afterwards so you do not carry everyone's stuff with you. The second card that came through is the Hermit, and this one feels so aligned with what Pisces needs right now. The Hermit is about going inward, about seeking wisdom through solitude and introspection. It is about being the light that guides not through loud proclamation, but through quiet example. For Pisces, this card is both validation and instruction. Let me start with the validation part. If you have been feeling pulled to spend more time alone, if you have been declining social invitations, if you have been needing more space and silence than usual, the Hermit is telling you this is not antisocial or wrong. This is exactly what you need right now. You are in a period of deep internal work, of integrating all these new frequencies and downloads, and that requires solitude. It requires space away from the noise and demands of the external world so you can hear your own inner voice clearly. There is this pressure in our culture to always be social, always be productive, always be engaged with the world. But the Hermit reminds us that withdrawal is sometimes the most productive thing we can do. The insights and clarity you gain in solitude are what prepare you to be truly effective when you do re-engage with the world. So if you have been feeling guilty about wanting to be alone, let that guilt go. What you are doing is necessary and sacred work. The Hermit holds a lantern, and that lantern represents inner wisdom and guidance. For Pisces in 2026, this card is saying that the answers you are seeking are not going to come from external authorities or teachers. They are going to come from within. You have accumulated so much wisdom through your life experiences, through your spiritual practices, through your deep feeling and processing of reality. Now is the time to trust that inner knowing more than any external voice. This does not mean you cannot learn from others or seek guidance when you need it, but it means you are moving into a phase where you become your own primary authority. When someone gives you advice, you check it against your inner knowing. When you read something spiritual or philosophical, you take what resonates and leave what does not. You are developing the capacity to be your own guru, your own guide. The Hermit is also about mastery through experience. You do not become a hermit by reading about solitude. You become one by actually withdrawing and doing the work of self-examination and spiritual practice. Similarly, you do not gain wisdom by collecting information. You gain it by living, by making mistakes, by reflecting on your experiences, by synthesizing everything you have been through into understanding. Pisces, you have been through so much, and sometimes you might feel like all that pain and confusion was wasted. The Hermit says no, it was all preparation. Every heartbreak taught you about love. Every betrayal taught you about trust. Every loss taught you about what really matters. You are becoming wise through lived experience, and that wisdom is going to be your greatest asset in 2026 and beyond. Let me talk about the practical application of this energy. The Hermit is calling you to establish or deepen a regular spiritual practice. This could be meditation, journaling, prayer, tarot, energy work, walking in nature, whatever helps you connect with your inner self and with the divine. The key is consistency. Even just 10 or 15 minutes a day of intentional spiritual practice will compound into profound transformation over the course of a year. The Hermit also speaks to the quality of your solitude. It is not about isolating in a way that is depressive or disconnected. It is about conscious withdrawal for the purpose of deepening your connection to yourself and to spirit. When you are alone, are you numbing out with distractions, or are you actually being present with yourself? Are you using solitude as an escape from life or as a way to gather strength so you can engage with life more fully? The Hermit is about the latter, about solitude as empowerment rather than avoidance. I am also seeing the Hermit as guidance about being selective with your energy and your time in 2026. You do not have to say yes to every invitation, every request, every opportunity. In fact, saying no to what is not aligned allows you to say a deeper yes to what truly matters. The Hermit teaches discernment about where you invest your precious life force. Not everything that glitters is gold, and not every opportunity is meant for you just because it is presented to you. For some of you, the Hermit might literally mean a physical retreat or period of withdrawal. Maybe you take a solo trip or a meditation retreat or just a weekend alone to reset and recalibrate. If you feel called to this, honor it. The insights you gain and the healing you experience during intentional periods of solitude can shift your entire trajectory. The Lantern. The Hermit carries also represents the light you will eventually share with others. Right now, you are building that light through your inner work. Later, when the time is right, you will come back down the mountain and share what you have learned. But you cannot give what you do not have, and you cannot guide others if you have not first found your own way. So this period of hermiting is not selfish, it is preparatory. You are becoming the person who can hold space for others because you first learned to hold space for yourself. I want to address something that I know a lot of you are experiencing but might not understand, and that is the physical and emotional symptoms that come with this kind of energetic shift. If you have been feeling exhausted for no apparent reason, if your sleep has been disrupted, if you have been having strange body sensations or emotional waves that seem to come out of nowhere, I want you to know that this is all part of the process. You are not losing it. You are transforming. What happens during major energetic shifts is that your physical body has to adjust to hold higher frequencies of energy. Think of it like this. If your body is a computer, the universe is trying to upload new software, and sometimes that means the system runs slowly or glitches while the update is installing. The exhaustion you are feeling is your body using enormous amounts of energy for this internal upgrade process. The sleep disruptions happen because your consciousness is active on other levels while your body is trying to rest. The emotional waves are old pain and programming surfacing to be cleared so you can operate from a cleaner, clearer state. Some specific symptoms you might be experiencing: strange sleep patterns where you wake up at the same time every night, especially between 2 and 4 in the morning. This is actually a time when the veil is thinnest and spiritual activity is highest. Your consciousness might be doing work on other dimensions during this time. Vivid, intense, sometimes disturbing dreams that feel more real than regular dreams. These are often processing dreams, clearing old timelines, or even prophetic dreams showing you possible futures. Physical sensations like tingling, pressure in your head, ringing in your ears, or feeling of energy moving through your body. These are signs that your energy centers are opening and your light body is activating. Emotional sensitivity that is off the charts. You might find yourself crying at commercials, feeling overwhelmed in crowds, picking up on tensions and energies that others do not notice. Your empathic abilities are amplifying, which means you need to be even more careful about whose energy you are around and how you protect and clear your field. Appetite changes, either eating much more or having no appetite at all. Digestive weirdness. Your body is literally changing at a cellular level, and sometimes that affects how you process food and nutrition. Time perception shifts, where hours feel like minutes or minutes feel like hours. This happens because you are beginning to operate outside of linear time, tapping into the eternal now, where past, present, and future are all accessible. You might have moments where you feel like you are in two places at once, or you remember something that has not happened yet, or you feel like you are reliving a moment you have already experienced. These are all signs that your consciousness is expanding beyond the normal parameters. So what do you do about all this? First, be gentle with yourself. Your body is doing something extraordinary, and it needs extra rest, extra hydration, extra nourishment. Listen to what your body is asking for. If you need to sleep more, sleep more. If you need to eat lighter or differently, honor that. If you need to move your body or be still, follow those instincts. Your body has wisdom about what it needs for this process. Second, help your body ground. This is crucial. With all this high-frequency spiritual energy coming in, you need to make sure you stay anchored in your physical body and in physical reality. Grounding practices include walking barefoot on the earth, eating root vegetables, spending time with animals, doing physical work or exercise, anything that reminds your body that it is safe to be here in physical form. For Pisces especially, who can be so floaty and ungrounded naturally, this is essential. Third, stay hydrated. Water is your element, and drinking lots of clean water helps your body process and integrate all these new energies. You can even charge your water with intention, holding it and infusing it with the intention that it cleanses and supports your transformation. Fourth, be patient with the emotional waves. When old pain comes up, do not try to push it away or distract yourself from it. Let it come up, feel it fully, and let it move through and out. This is cellular memory clearing, karmic clearing, ancestral clearing even. The emotions that are surfacing are not happening to punish you. They are surfacing to be released so you do not have to carry them anymore. Cry when you need to cry. Rage if you need to rage. Just do it in a safe space where you are not harming yourself or others, and know that it is temporary. The third card is Page of Pentacles, and I love this card for Pisces right now because it brings such a grounded, practical energy to balance all the spiritual and emotional intensity we have been talking about. Pages are messengers and students, and pentacles represent the material world, physical manifestation, money, career, health, tangible results. So Page of Pentacles is about learning new skills, starting new ventures, and approaching the material world with fresh eyes and dedication. For Pisces, who can be so caught up in the spiritual and emotional realms that the practical world feels like an afterthought, this card is a gentle but clear message. Your spiritual gifts and insights are meant to be grounded into physical reality. Your visions are meant to become tangible creations. Your compassion is meant to translate into practical service. Page of Pentacles is asking you to bring heaven down to earth to be spiritual and practical. This card often appears when someone is at the beginning stages of a new learning process or new venture. You are a student again, approaching something with beginner's mind, willing to not know everything, willing to make mistakes and learn as you go. For some of you, this might mean literally going back to school or taking courses or learning a new skill. For others, it might mean starting a new business or creative project or beginning to take your health seriously in a new way. The beautiful thing about the Page energy is the enthusiasm and curiosity. You are not jaded or burned out. You are excited about learning and growing. Even if you have been through a lot, Page of Pentacles says you can approach this new chapter with fresh energy and optimism. You are willing to put in the work because you can see the potential for what you are building. Let me get specific about what this might look like practically. If you have been wanting to turn your spiritual gifts into a business, offering readings or healing sessions or coaching, Page of Pentacles is a green light, but it is also a reminder to learn the practical side of things. You need to understand money, marketing, boundaries with clients, how to run a sustainable business. The spiritual gift alone is not enough. You need to pair it with practical skills and structure. If you have been wanting to get serious about your health and body, Page of Pentacles is about approaching this as a student. Maybe you hire a trainer or nutritionist. Maybe you start researching and experimenting with what works for your unique body. Maybe you commit to a practice like yoga or martial arts and stay with it long enough to see real transformation. The key is consistency and dedication over time, not looking for quick fixes, but being willing to do the work. For creative Pisces, Page of Pentacles might be about learning the craft side of your art. You have the vision and the inspiration, but do you have the technical skills to execute it at the level you envision? Are you willing to study and practice and refine your craft? This card says that investing time in developing your skills will pay off enormously. The masters did not just channel their art, they also practiced relentlessly until the execution matched the vision. Page of Pentacles also speaks to money and finances, which is often an area where Pisces struggles. There can be this idea that spiritual people should not care about money, or that focusing on material success is somehow less evolved than focusing on spiritual growth. But this is a false dichotomy. Money is just energy, and learning to manage it well is a spiritual practice in itself. It requires consciousness, discipline, gratitude, and wise stewardship of resources. In 2026, Page of Pentacles is encouraging you to educate yourself about money. Learn about investing, saving, creating multiple income streams. Look at your spending patterns and see where you might be leaking energy financially. Get clear on what financial abundance actually means to you, not what society says it should mean. For some people, abundance is having millions in the bank. For others, it is having enough to live simply and pursue what brings meaning. Neither is better, but you need to define it for yourself and then create a practical plan to move toward that vision. The page also represents messages and opportunities related to the material world. You might receive an offer for work, or hear about an opportunity to learn something new, or have an idea for a business or project land in your consciousness. The page energy is about saying yes to these opportunities and then showing up with dedication and willingness to learn. Do not let perfectionism or fear stop you from taking these first steps. Pages are allowed to be beginners, allowed to not have all the answers, allowed to learn by doing. I am also seeing Page of Pentacles as a message about patience with results. Pages are the youngest of the court cards. They are just starting out, and they understand that building something real takes time. In our instant gratification culture, this can be hard to accept, but real mastery, real success, real transformation happens slowly and steadily over time. You are planting seeds now that will grow into something substantial, but you have to tend them consistently and trust the process even when you cannot see results yet. The relationship between this card and the spiritual energy we have been talking about is that all your intuitive downloads, all your spiritual insights, all your visions for a better future need to be translated into practical action steps in the physical world. Page of Pentacles is the bridge between the dream and the manifestation. It is the willingness to show up every day and do the work, even when it is not glamorous or exciting, because you are committed to bringing your vision into form. Let me talk about what is happening in your relationships right now, because this is a huge theme for Pisces in this transitional period. As your frequency shifts, as you step more fully into your authentic self, your relationships are going to go through a sorting process. Some connections are going to deepen and become more meaningful. Others are going to naturally fall away. And this is not a bad thing, even though it might feel painful in the moment. This is alignment happening. Here is what I am seeing. As you raise your vibration and become clearer about who you are and what you are here to do, you are going to find that you have less tolerance for relationships that drain you or that require you to be someone you are not. Those friendships where you always have to be the healer, where your needs are never met, where there is no reciprocity, they are going to start feeling increasingly uncomfortable. You might find yourself naturally pulling back from certain people, or they might pull back from you, sensing that you are changing in ways they are not ready to match. This is not about judging anyone as good or bad. It is simply about energetic compatibility. As you evolve, some people will no longer be a match for your frequency, and that is okay. You can release them with love and gratitude for whatever that connection taught you, while also acknowledging that it is complete. Not all relationships are meant to last forever. Some are only meant for a season, and trying to force them to continue beyond their natural expiration date just creates suffering for everyone involved. At the same time, you are going to start attracting new people who are aligned with who you are becoming. These might be spiritual seekers, creatives, healers, people who see you and appreciate you for your authentic self rather than what you can do for them. These connections will feel different from your old relationships. There will be more ease, more mutual support, more genuine understanding. You will not have to explain yourself or defend your choices. These people will just get you. For Pisces specifically, I want to address the pattern of losing yourself in relationships. You have this beautiful capacity to merge with others, to feel what they feel, to love them so completely that you sometimes forget where you end and they begin. This can create deeply intimate bonds, but it can also lead to codependency and loss of self. In 2026, you are being called to love without losing yourself, to maintain your center even in the midst of deep connection. This means getting clear on boundaries, which I know is hard for you. But boundaries are not walls, they are not rejection, they are not mean. Boundaries are the container that allows love to flow healthily. Think of a river. Without banks, the river just floods everywhere and becomes a swamp. The banks give the river direction and power. Your boundaries do the same thing for your relationships. They allow your love and care to flow in a directed, sustainable way rather than just spilling out everywhere until you are depleted. Practically, this might mean saying no sometimes even to people you care about. It might mean not answering every text immediately. It might mean declining to take on someone else's problem as your own. It might mean ending conversations that are draining you. It might mean asking for what you need rather than always being the one who gives. These things might feel selfish at first because you are so used to putting everyone else first, but they are actually essential for your well-being and for the health of your relationships. For those of you in romantic relationships, this energy might bring things to a head one way or another. If your relationship is based on authentic love and mutual growth, it will deepen and transform into something even more beautiful in 2026. You and your partner will support each other's evolution, will celebrate each other's growth, will navigate the changes together. But if your relationship is based on need or fear or habit, if one or both of you is keeping the other small, if there is not genuine mutual respect and support, then this relationship might not survive the transformation you are going through, and that might be exactly what needs to happen for both of you to find your true paths. For single Pisces, I am seeing that you are being prepared to call in a relationship that is actually aligned with your soul rather than just filling a void or meeting a surface need. The work you are doing on yourself right now, the clarity you are gaining, the boundaries you are setting, all of this is raising your standards and your vibration. When you do attract your next relationship, it is going to be from a much more conscious place. You will be choosing someone who meets you where you are rather than settling for less because you are afraid of being alone. I also want to mention soul contracts and how they are activating right now. Some of the people coming into your life in 2026 are not random. These are soul connections, people you have agreements with on a soul level to meet at this time for specific purposes. Maybe they are here to teach you something, or for you to teach them. Maybe you are meant to create something together. Maybe they are part of your soul family, and finding each other is just a remembering of something ancient and true. Stay open to these connections and trust that the right people will find you at the right time. The fourth card, Eight of Cups, is one of the most significant for what Pisces is moving through right now. This is the card of walking away, of leaving behind what no longer serves you even when it is hard, even when part of you wants to stay, even when you have invested so much time and energy. Eight of Cups is about emotional courage and the willingness to seek something more meaningful, even if you do not yet know what that looks like. Look at the image on this card. There are 8 cups stacked up, representing emotional investment, relationships, situations that you have poured yourself into. But there is a gap in the stack. Something is missing. Something is not quite complete or satisfying. And the figure in the card is turning their back on all of this and walking away, heading toward the mountains under a lunar sky, searching for something deeper and more authentic. This is such a Pisces journey because you are so loyal, so devoted, so willing to keep trying and hoping and giving more. You hold on to relationships and situations long past their expiration date because you see the potential, because you believe in redemption, because you do not want to give up on anyone or anything. But sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for others is to walk away. Sometimes leaving is the only way anything can actually change. In the context of 2026 and this major energy shift, Eight of Cups is saying that you cannot bring everything from your old life into your new one. Some things have to be left behind, some versions of yourself have to be released, some dreams that are not actually your dreams have to be acknowledged as such and released back to whoever they belong to. This is not failure, this is evolution. You are not the same person you were a year ago or 5 years ago, and pretending that you can keep living a life that fit an older version of you is just going to create suffering. Let me get practical about what this might mean. Maybe there is a job or career path that you have been following because it seemed like the right thing, because it pays the bills, because you have already invested so much time in it. But it does not light you up anymore, if it ever did. It feels like you are just going through the motions, and every day you feel a little more of your soul dying. Eight of Cups is the courage to admit that this is not working and to start planning your exit even if you do not yet know what comes next. Or maybe it is a relationship that you have been trying to make work, but deep down you know it is not right. Maybe the love is gone, or maybe it was never really the kind of love that makes a partnership sustainable. Maybe you have grown in different directions. Maybe there is not abuse or anything dramatic wrong, it just is not right anymore. Eight of Cups is the wisdom to honor that truth and to choose yourself, to choose your authentic path, even if it means being alone for a while. Or maybe it is a living situation, a friendship group, a belief system, a version of yourself that you have been clinging to out of fear of the unknown. Eight of Cups is the trust that there is something better waiting for you, something more aligned, something that will nourish your soul in ways that what you are leaving behind cannot. The journey that Eight of Cups represents is not easy. When you walk away from the known, even when it is not serving you, there is grief, there is fear, there is the voice in your head that says, maybe you are making a mistake, maybe you should go back, maybe this is as good as it gets. But underneath all that fear and doubt is a deeper knowing, a soul voice that is saying, this is right, this is necessary, this is the path. And as a Pisces, you have access to that soul voice more than most. You know when something is true, even if you cannot explain it logically. Eight of Cups is asking you to trust that knowing. The moon in this card is significant. The moon represents intuition, the subconscious, the emotional realm, all things Pisces naturally rules. The journey you are on is being guided by your inner knowing, not by external logic or what makes sense to other people. This is a lunar journey, an intuitive journey, and it requires you to trust yourself more than you trust anyone else's opinions about what you should do. I want to acknowledge how scary this can be. Walking away from the known, even when it is painful or limiting, feels like stepping off a cliff. You cannot see the landing. You do not have guarantees. You do not know if it is going to work out. But here is what I know about Pisces and about the energy of 2026. You are being held. You are being guided. The universe is conspiring to support you in stepping into your authentic path, and every time you have the courage to let go of what is not serving you, you create space for something better to arrive. The mountain in the Eight of Cups represents the higher ground you are seeking. It is perspective. It is spiritual understanding. It is a vantage point where you can see the bigger picture of your life. Right now, you might feel like you are in the valley, surrounded by fog, unable to see very far ahead. But as you walk away from what is not working and climb toward that higher ground, the view is going to expand. You are going to understand why certain things had to end, why certain paths were not for you, and you are going to be so grateful that you had the courage to keep walking even when you could not see the destination. For some of you, Eight of Cups might represent a physical journey, an actual trip or move that takes you away from your current situation and into something new. If you have been feeling called to travel, to relocate, to explore a different environment, pay attention to that call. Sometimes we need to physically remove ourselves from what is familiar in order to break old patterns and discover who we really are underneath all the conditioning and expectations. This card is also about emotional maturity. It is recognizing that you cannot save people. You cannot fix relationships that are fundamentally misaligned. You cannot make someone love you the way you need to be loved, and you cannot live someone else's dream for your life. These are hard truths, but accepting them is liberating. When you stop trying to force things that are not meant to be, you free up enormous amounts of energy that can be redirected toward what actually is meant for you. I want to spend some time on career and purpose because I know this is a big area of transformation for Pisces right now. Many of you are feeling a deep restlessness about your work life, a sense that you are meant to be doing something more meaningful, more aligned with who you really are. And this is not just dissatisfaction or grass is greener thinking. This is your soul trying to redirect you towards your actual purpose. Pisces is here to create, to heal, to inspire, to bring beauty and meaning into the world. You are not designed for soul-crushing corporate jobs that treat you like a cog in a machine. You are not built for work that requires you to shut down your sensitivity and intuition and just follow protocols. You need work that engages your whole self, that allows you to use your natural gifts, that feels like it matters beyond just making money. Now, I understand that we live in a practical world where bills need to be paid and responsibilities need to be met. I am not suggesting you quit your job tomorrow without a plan, but I am suggesting that if you are feeling this call towards something different, something more authentic, you start taking it seriously and begin moving in that direction, even if slowly at first. What does your soul actually want to do? Not what your parents think you should do, not what seems practical or safe, not what would impress people, but what genuinely lights you up. What would you do even if no one paid you? What problems do you want to solve? What do you daydream about creating? These questions are not frivolous, they are clues to your purpose. For many Pisces, the answer involves creativity in some form. You might be an artist, musician, writer, designer, dancer, or your creativity might express through other channels like cooking, gardening, decorating, fashion. Pisces needs to create beauty and meaning, and if you are not doing that in your work, you probably feel like something essential is missing from your life. For others, the calling is toward healing and service. You might be drawn to counseling, coaching, energy work, nursing, teaching, social work. Pisces has this natural ability to hold space for others, to see people's pain and potential, to offer compassion without judgment. If you have these gifts and you are not using them in your work, you might feel like your days are meaningless no matter how successful you are by external standards. The shift happening in 2026 is giving you both the courage and the cosmic support to start moving toward work that actually aligns with your soul. This might mean a complete career change, or it might mean finding ways to bring more of your authentic self into your current work. It might mean starting a side project that could eventually become your main thing. It might mean going back to school or getting training in something you have always been interested in but never pursued. Here's what I want you to understand. Your spiritual gifts, your creativity, your sensitivity, these are not hobbies or side interests that you do after you finish your real work. These are your real work. These are what you are here to offer the world. And the universe wants to support you in doing this work, but you have to be willing to take the risk of actually stepping toward it. I know the fear that comes up. What if I cannot make enough money? What if I fail? What if people think I am being irresponsible? What if I am delusional and this does not work out? These fears are normal, but they should not be the deciding factor in your life choices. You can acknowledge the fear and still move forward. You can be practical about how you make the transition while still committing to making it. One thing that helps is to start building the bridge while you are still standing on the old shore. Keep your current job while you start developing your new path on the side. Take courses, build your skills, start offering your services for free or low cost to build experience and testimonials. Save money so you have a cushion when you are ready to leap. You do not have to make a dramatic, sudden change. You can transition gradually in a way that feels manageable. But here's the key. You have to actually start. You have to take action, not just daydream about it. The universe responds to action, to commitment, to showing that you are serious about this path. When you start moving toward your purpose, even in small ways, doors start opening that you could not have forced open through effort alone. Synchronicities increase. The right people show up. Opportunities present themselves. This is not magical thinking. This is how energy works. When you align your actions with your truth, reality reorganizes itself to support that alignment. Temperance is the fifth card, and it brings such important guidance about how to navigate everything we have been talking about. Temperance is about balance, moderation, patience, integration, alchemy. It is the card that says transformation does not happen through force or extremes, but through gentle, consistent, mindful adjustment over time. The angel in Temperance has 1 foot on land and 1 foot in water, symbolizing the ability to bridge different worlds, different energies, different parts of self. For Pisces, this is especially relevant because you naturally exist between the material and spiritual realms, between the conscious and unconscious, between self and other. Temperance is teaching you how to inhabit both worlds fully without losing yourself in either one. This card is also about the alchemical process of transformation. The angel is pouring liquid between 2 cups, mixing and blending different elements to create something new. This is what you are doing in 2026. You are taking the old and the new, the spiritual insights and the practical realities, the wisdom you have gained and the innocence you are reclaiming, and you are blending them into a new way of being that is uniquely yours. Temperance asks you to be patient with this process. Transformation takes time. Integration takes time. You cannot rush becoming who you are meant to be. There will be days when you feel like you are making huge progress, and days when you feel like you are going backward. This is normal. This is how growth actually works. It is not linear, it is spiral. You might revisit the same lessons at deeper levels. You might feel like you are back where you started, but you are not. You are seeing the same thing from a more evolved perspective. The moderation that Temperance speaks to is important for Pisces to hear because you can be prone to extremes. You might throw yourself completely into spiritual practice to the point where you become ungrounded and disconnected from practical reality. Or you might go the opposite direction and become so focused on material success that you neglect your soul. Temperance is the middle path. The integration of both, the understanding that you do not have to choose between being spiritual and being practical, between serving others and honoring yourself, between dreaming big and staying grounded. In terms of health and well-being, Temperance is reminding you to find balance. Not too much work, not too much rest, not too much socializing, not too much isolation, not too much indulgence, not too much deprivation. Your body and your energy system function best when there is balance and moderation. This might mean creating more structure and routine in your life if you tend toward chaos, or loosening up and allowing more spontaneity if you have become too rigid. Temperance is also about emotional regulation and not getting swept away by every feeling that moves through you. As a Pisces, you feel things deeply and intensely, and that is a gift. But you also need to develop the capacity to experience intense emotions without being destabilized by them. This is what I was talking about earlier with the Chariot and emotional mastery. You can feel everything and still maintain your center. You can be sensitive without being fragile. The healing aspect of Temperance is significant. This card often appears when healing is happening at a deep level, when old wounds are finally integrating and resolving. For many Pisces, 2026 is a year of profound healing, not just of recent pain, but of old childhood wounds, ancestral wounds, past life wounds even. This healing might not look like you think it will. It might not be a dramatic breakthrough moment. It might be more like a gentle, gradual knitting back together of parts of yourself that have been fragmented. It might be a slow releasing of pain you have been carrying for so long you forgot it was there. The rainbow in Temperance symbolizes hope and promise, the idea that after the storm comes beauty and renewal. Whatever you have been through, whatever darkness you have walked through, you are coming out the other side. The pain served its purpose in cracking you open and deepening you, but it does not define you, and it is not the end of your story. Something beautiful is emerging from the transformation you have undergone. Practically, Temperance is asking you to look at your daily life and see where you need more balance. Are you sleeping enough? Eating in a way that nourishes you? moving your body, spending time in nature, connecting with people you love, engaging in creative expression, having fun. These are not optional extras. They are essential components of a balanced life. And when your life is balanced, you have so much more energy and capacity for the bigger work you are here to do. Temperance is also about divine timing and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You might want things to happen faster. You might be frustrated with how long certain processes are taking. But temperance reminds you that there is a rhythm and timing to life that is wiser than your personal agenda. Some things need to cook slowly. Some things need to ferment. Some things need to rest before they can grow. Trust the timing, even when you do not understand it. I want to zoom out for a moment and talk about the bigger picture of what is happening right now, because what you are experiencing personally is connected to a much larger shift in collective consciousness. We are in a time of global awakening, where more and more people are questioning the systems and structures we have been operating under, where old paradigms are crumbling and new ones are being born. And Pisces, as the last sign of the zodiac, as the sign that represents collective consciousness and unity, you are feeling this collective shift in your bones. The old world was built on separation, on hierarchy, on exploitation, on fear. It told us we are separate from each other, separate from nature, separate from the divine. It taught us to compete rather than collaborate, to hoard rather than share, to dominate rather than cooperate. And for a long time, this was the operating system of human civilization. But that system is dying. It is still thrashing around and doing damage in its death throes, but it is dying nonetheless. What is being born is a new paradigm based on interconnection, on recognizing that we are all part of one consciousness experiencing itself through many forms. This new paradigm values cooperation over competition, compassion over cruelty, sustainability over exploitation. It honors the earth as sacred, rather than treating it as a resource to be used up. It sees diversity as strength rather than threat. It knows that when any part of the whole is suffering, the whole is suffering. This shift is not happening smoothly or easily. There is tremendous resistance from those who benefit from the old system, and there is fear from those who find comfort in the familiar, even when it is dysfunctional. But the shift is happening regardless, and those who are sensitive to energy can feel it building like pressure before an earthquake. As a Pisces, you are one of the advanced scouts of this new consciousness. You naturally operate from a place of empathy and interconnection. You feel what others feel. You know at a cellular level that separation is an illusion. You are uncomfortable with the harshness and hierarchy of the old world. Your role in this collective shift is not to fight against the old, but to embody the new, to be a living example of what conscious, compassionate, heart-centered living looks like. This might feel like a lot of responsibility, and in some ways it is. But you do not have to do it perfectly, and you do not have to do it alone. There are others who are awakening to this same calling, and you are finding each other. This is what I meant earlier about soul tribes and soul contracts. The people who are showing up in your life now are not random. You are being brought together for a purpose. Your sensitivity, which has probably caused you so much pain and confusion throughout your life, is actually your superpower in this new paradigm. The ability to feel deeply, to tune into subtle energies, to see the interconnection of all things, these are the skills that are needed now. The old world valued toughness, emotional detachment, logical analysis, divorce from feeling. The new world needs emotional intelligence, intuition, empathy, creativity, the capacity to hold space for complexity and paradox. These are Pisces gifts. So when you feel overwhelmed by the intensity of what is happening in the world, when you feel the collective pain and fear, remember that you are not just passively absorbing this, you are transmuting it. Your capacity to feel is also a capacity to heal. When you hold difficult emotions with compassion rather than judgment, when you stay present with pain rather than shutting down or turning away, you are doing healing work not just for yourself, but for the collective. This does not mean you should martyr yourself or take on more than you can handle. You still need boundaries and self-care, but it means recognizing that your personal healing is collective healing. Every time you transform a pattern of fear or pain in your own life, you are making it easier for others to do the same. Every time you choose love over fear, connection over separation, authenticity over performance, you are strengthening that choice in the collective field. The sixth and final card is death, and before you panic, let me explain what this really means. In tarot, death is rarely about physical death. It is about transformation, endings that lead to new beginnings, the death of old versions of self so new ones can be born. Death is the most profound card of transformation in the entire deck, and it showing up for Pisces right now is incredibly significant. Death says that something in your life is ending, and it needs to end. Maybe it is a phase, a belief system, a pattern, a relationship, a way of being. Something has run its course, and no amount of effort or hoping is going to resurrect it. And this is not a tragedy, even though endings can be painful. This ending is necessary. It is creating the space for something new and more aligned to emerge. Pisces, you have been holding on to versions of yourself that no longer fit who you are becoming. You have been trying to make old situations work that are fundamentally misaligned with your evolution. You have been loyal to things and people that are no longer serving your highest good. Death is the card that says enough. It is time to let go. Not someday, not when you feel ready, but now. The transformation is happening whether you cooperate with it or not, and it will be much easier if you surrender to it rather than resisting. Think about how nature works. Trees shed their leaves in autumn, not because something is wrong, but because holding on to those leaves through winter would drain the tree's resources and prevent new growth in spring. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly by trying harder to be a better caterpillar. It has to completely dissolve in the cocoon, breaking down into something that barely resembles its former self, before it can reorganize into something new and winged and free. This is what is happening to you. You are in the cocoon, you are dissolving, and it is supposed to feel disorienting and scary and like you are losing everything you thought you knew about yourself. But on the other side of this dissolution is your emergence as something more beautiful and authentic than you have ever been. Death in the tarot is riding a white horse, which represents purity of purpose and spiritual transformation. The black flag with the white rose represents beauty emerging from darkness, hope in the midst of loss. The sun rising between two towers represents new beginnings, a new day literally dawning. This is the promise of death. Yes, something ends, but something begins, and what begins is more aligned with your truth than what ended. For some of you, death might represent the end of a major life chapter. Maybe you are moving, changing careers, ending a long-term relationship, dealing with a loss. For others, it might be more internal. The death of an identity you have been clinging to. The death of a dream that was never really yours. The death of beliefs that no longer serve you. One of the hardest things about death energy is that you cannot control how or when the transformation happens. Death is the one card in the tarot that represents forces bigger than individual will. You cannot negotiate with death. You cannot postpone it. You cannot dilute it or make it more comfortable. All you can do is surrender to it and trust that even though you cannot see what is on the other side, there is something on the other side, and it is what your soul has been calling for. I want to talk about grief for a moment because death always involves grief, even when the ending is ultimately positive. You might be grieving the loss of who you used to be, the loss of certainty, the loss of relationships or situations that once meant everything to you. Let yourself grieve. Do not rush past this or try to positive think your way around it. Grief is the honoring of what was, and it needs to be acknowledged before you can fully move into what will be. At the same time, there is a liberation that comes with death. When you stop trying to revive what is dead, when you stop clinging to the past, when you accept that this chapter is over, you suddenly have so much more energy available. All the energy you were using to hold on can now be redirected toward creating what comes next. This is the gift of death. It forces you to let go, and in letting go, you discover that you are actually free. Death is also about initiation into deeper wisdom. Every ending, every loss, every transformation deepens you and teaches you something essential about life and about yourself. You cannot skip these initiations. You cannot learn these lessons intellectually. You have to live through them, feel them, allow them to change you. And every time you move through a death experience and come out the other side, you are stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more authentic. For Pisces specifically, death might be representing the death of the old wound of not belonging. So many Pisces feel like misfits, like they are too sensitive for this world, like they have to hide who they really are in order to be accepted. This feeling of being wrong or too much or not enough, this wound is dying in 2026. You are stepping into an understanding that your sensitivity is strength, that your differences are gifts, that the world actually needs what you have to offer, and that the right people will love you not despite who you are, but because of who you are. The Death card is also about surrender and trust in a process that is bigger than your understanding. You might not know why certain things are ending, you might not see the purpose in the pain, but death asks you to trust anyway, to believe that there is intelligence and purpose guiding your transformation, even when it does not make sense to your logical mind. Let me give you some practical guidance for how to work with this energy intentionally, especially around January 1st, but also throughout the first part of 2026. The more conscious you are about this transition, the more you can work with it rather than being tossed around by it. On January 1st itself, I recommend creating some kind of ceremony or ritual to mark this energetic gateway. It does not have to be complicated or fancy. The power is in your intention, not in having the perfect setup. But there is something important about marking significant moments consciously, about showing up and saying, yes, I am aware that something is shifting, and I want to participate actively in my own transformation. You might start by creating a sacred space. This could be a corner of your room, or your whole room if you have privacy, or even just a small altar on a table. Gather items that feel meaningful to you. Candles are good because fire represents transformation. Crystals, if you work with them, especially clear quartz for clarity, amethyst for spiritual connection, black tourmaline for grounding and protection, a bowl or cup of water because water is your element and represents emotional healing and flow, maybe some flowers or plants to represent new growth, a journal and pen for writing. Spend some time in meditation or quiet contemplation. Connect with your breath, with your body, with your heart. Ask yourself what you are ready to release from your past. What beliefs, patterns, relationships, or ways of being are you complete with? Write these down. Be honest. This is just for you. No one else needs to see it. Then ask yourself what you are calling in for this new chapter. What do you want to feel? Who do you want to become? What do you want to create? What does your soul desire? Again, write it down. Make it as specific or as general as feels right, but make it come from your truth, not from what you think you should want. You can burn the list of what you are releasing, symbolizing letting it go and transforming it. You can keep the list of what you are calling in somewhere you will see it regularly, or you can release it to the universe and trust that the energy of your intention is enough. Spend time with the cards we have talked about. You can pull them from your own deck if you have one, or just meditate on the images and meanings. The Chariot, the Hermit, Page of Pentacles, Eight of Cups, Temperance, Death. What messages do these cards have for you personally? How do they relate to what you are experiencing? Journal about this. Throughout January and into the first quarter of 2026, maintain daily practices that keep you grounded and connected to yourself. Morning meditation, even if just for 10 minutes. Journaling to process what you are experiencing. Movement that helps you stay in your body, whether that is yoga, dancing, walking, whatever feels good. Time in nature, especially near water when possible. Creative expression in whatever form calls to you. Pay attention to your dreams during this time and write them down when you wake up. Your subconscious is going to be very active, and your dreams will be carrying important messages and doing clearing work. You do not have to analyze every detail, just the act of recording them honors the process and helps with integration. Be gentle with yourself about the physical and emotional symptoms we talked about. Rest when you need to rest. Say no to things that drain you. Prioritize your well-being over other people's expectations. This is not selfishness. This is essential self-care during a major transition. Stay hydrated. Seriously, drink so much water. Your body needs it for processing all this energy. You can even charge your water with intention by holding it and infusing it with light and healing energy before drinking it. Connect with your soul tribe. Reach out to people who understand what you are going through, who support your growth, who see and celebrate the real you. Let go of relationships that require you to be smaller or different than you are. You do not owe anyone your continued presence in their life if that presence comes at the cost of your authenticity. Be patient with the process. Transformation does not happen overnight, and there will be days when you feel like you are going backward. This is normal. Growth is not linear. You are spiraling upward, and sometimes that means revisiting familiar territory from a new perspective. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be. So here we are at the end of this reading, but really this is just the beginning of your journey into 2026 and beyond. I want to leave you with some final thoughts about why you, as a Pisces, are uniquely prepared for this moment and why your gifts are so needed right now. You were born with an antenna for the invisible, for the energetic, for the spiritual dimensions of reality. What others have to learn and practice and struggle to access, you know naturally. Your intuition, your empathy, your creativity, your connection to something greater than yourself, these are not accidents of your personality. These are the gifts your soul chose to bring into this incarnation, because they are what you are here to share. The world is waking up to values that Pisces has always embodied: compassion over cruelty, interconnection over separation, meaning over materialism, feeling over force. For so long, your sensitivity might have felt like a curse, like you were too fragile for this harsh world. But now, as the world itself transforms, your sensitivity is revealed as the strength it always was. You are not too much. You are exactly right. You are not broken. You are actually ahead of the curve. Your role in the collective awakening is to be yourself as fully and authentically as possible. You do not have to force anything or prove anything. You just have to show up as you are, let your light shine, share your gifts, create beauty, offer healing, live from your heart. When you do this, you give others permission to do the same. You show what is possible. You are the bridge between worlds, between the old paradigm and the new, between the material and the spiritual, between individual consciousness and collective consciousness. This year, 2026, is asking you to step more fully into your power. Not power over others, but power with, power from within, the power of authenticity and alignment. The Chariot is teaching you to harness your gifts and direct them purposefully. The Hermit is showing you the wisdom that comes from going within. Page of Pentacles is reminding you to ground your spiritual insights into practical action. Eight of Cups is giving you permission to walk away from what no longer serves. Temperance is teaching you balance and patience with the process. And Death is transforming you into someone new, someone more aligned with your soul truth. You are not alone on this journey. There are others like you waking up, stepping up, choosing authenticity over conformity. Your soul tribe is finding you, or you are finding them. The connections you make in 2026 have the potential to be profound and life-changing because they are based on truth and resonance rather than surface compatibility. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust the path that is unfolding even when you cannot see very far ahead. Trust that the universe is supporting you in becoming who you came here to be. And trust that your sensitivity, your creativity, your compassion, your spiritual gifts, all the things that make you uniquely Pisces, these are exactly what the world needs right now. As we move into this new year and this new energy, know that you are prepared. Everything you have been through has been preparing you. Every challenge has strengthened you. Every loss has deepened you. Every moment of doubt has taught you to trust yourself more. You are ready for this. You were born ready for this. Welcome to 2026, Pisces. Welcome to your transformation. Welcome to your emergence. Welcome home to yourself. Thank you for being here, for trusting this message, for being part of this community. I am honored to share this journey with you. May this year bring you everything your soul has been calling for, and may you have the courage to receive it when it comes.